Hey, real quick before we dive into the Hardcore Closer podcast, if you haven't already, jump over to hardcorecloser.com, sign up, and join over 20,000 sales professionals from around the world and receive free hardcore sales training every week after week that will help you step your game up. Now, buckle up, closers. Here's Ryan. Let's do it.
Welcome to the Hardcore Closer podcast. I'm Ryan Stewman, founder of this bitch. And this podcast is all about helping you close more deals. Listen, it doesn't matter if you're selling cars, homes, financial services, consulting, personal training. If you're selling funnels, we know you funnel consultants are out there listening to me, right? This podcast is dedicated to helping you generate higher quality leads, right? Funnel people, and increase your closing ratios and show you how to charge premium fees in the process. That's what I'm talking about, everybody. Listen, win the double digits today, episode number 10, y'all. Can you feel me? Can I get a clap? Robert, you clapping with us? Come on, man. Right? Number 10, persistence, right? So the first mark is 10. The next mark is 100, right? So we got to push through that. So we did it with Rockstar Closer. Over there's 100 and something episodes. I believe that we'll probably put 500 of these out. Just because the way that producer Robert's really put this stuff together. And by the way, man, I don't know if you noticed or not.
You changed my name on WordPress to producer Robert. Yeah, sure I meant to call that earlier on the pre-show.
He's paying attention, at least, ladies and gentlemen. He's paying attention. But yes, you have been, your official nickname, producer Robert, is on the blog now. Because here's what happened, man. Amy was looking over my shoulder, and she thought somebody had hacked my site. She's like, "Who's Robert Wiseman?" Right? She says it's producer Robert, right? So, and she's like, "Who is that?" Like somebody had hacked the site, because she knew that we had only let 2 other people ever guest blog, which is, Kat and Regan. And so she kind of freaked out, and I was like, "Oh, it's the producer." And she's like, "You should put that on there, producer Robert's." Like, great idea. So that's how it came about. And now the world knows who you are too, right? They'd be like, "Oh, producer Jonathan." So I told you we were going to come up with a nickname for you. It was just going to happen. Hey, yeah, it could be worse, right?
Absolutely.
Could be low energy Robert or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, shout out to that guy that said that about me still. Yeah.
All right, man, let's get into some stuff here. So welcome to episode 10. I'm glad you're here. Here's the thing, right? We've got 9 other episodes, obviously math, right? Well, depending, you could be hearing this sometime in the future. There could be 900 other episodes. I don't know. So there's other episodes than this one. Feel free to listen to them on the way to work, in the gym, before you hit the sales floor. That's what we really designed this for. But I ask that you do me a favor and leave a review on iTunes, right? It helps me out with the SEO. And if you look in iTunes, really, man, I've done like 200 different interviews in there, man. I am a podcast, like I'm on it, right? Like, I'm all over the place, baby. So, and I'm all about that. And the way that you can help me continue to be all over the place. And really, it's like SEO for iTunes. When you say, like, if they give me stars and they rank me and they give me reviews and they show that they're actually listening to it, Apple will reward me by showing more people in the store, which helps grow my audience, which helps motivate me to show up here with you. And everybody fucking wins. It's awesome, right? So just go back there when you get a chance. Give us 5 stars. Rate us. Tell us how awesome we are. And shoot us a tweet and let us know that you went back there. And I'll send you a copy of, like a digital copy of my Hardcore Closer book, right? Like, we don't give those away anywhere, right? You can get the kick-ass book on my website, hardcorecloser.com, for free. But we don't give the Hardcore Closer one away. But if you're listening to this, even in the future, right? I mean, assuming we all have this shit still going on. But if you're listening to this, send a tweet out at Hardcore Closer and just tweet out that you rated the show, and I'll send you a digital copy in your DM, right? Digital copy of Hardcore Closer, $10 book, send you the ebook version of it for free, no questions asked. Just tweet it out, review it, tweet it out. I got your back. How's that sound? That sounds like a good deal, right, Robert?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Is that legal? Can we ethically bribe people to do shit like that?
Absolutely, man. It's very generous of you too to get something that, a lot of people will just move out just off the strength, right? But it's all right. Everybody, when you sweeten the pot a little bit, man, spiffs create action, bro. We know that.
That's right.
We're salespeople.
That's right, man. Plus the book, shit, there's nothing wrong with that. The book helps people too, man. They read it. Like, every day I get like messages in my inbox like, "Yo, bro, A, how the fuck are you still alive? And B, dude, like, your story is inspiring, man. I've been through this XYZ situation." Because I've been through so many damn situations that I can kind of connect with anybody, right? Like, oh yeah, I did that shit too. Fuck, So we're kind of in that scenario with the book, man. So it really changed a lot of people's lives too. And so, I really like to put that in the hands of people who are taking a couple minutes to give us a review. So let's get that shit out of the way, because the last thing I want to do is sound desperate. right? Like, listen, this is what this show's about. Episode 10 is going to be 5 dead giveaways that tell prospects you're desperate for their business, right? And we all know that guy, right? Like when you think about what is the salesman's name from The Simpsons? Gil, right? Gil's like, he's like always like this nervous, like salesman that looked desperate. And he's like, he'll do anything for $1, right? Like you always see him, he's wearing like the Dilbert tie and carrying the briefcase and got the detective hat and shit like that. You know, the signs of a desperate salesperson. But these days, there's other telltale signs that you're desperate. And listen, the whole thing, like, the people close with confidence. That's where the money's made. Like, because people are unsure of themselves. Because of personal insecurity, people refuse to make decisions. But when you come in and you're so fucking sure of what it is that you sell and what it is that you do and what it is you're going to do for them and the service that you're going to provide, when you're so sure, that confidence bleeds over to them. And it's like you have so much confidence boiling over that their cup is catching that extra confidence as it comes over. And that allows them to confidently make that decision. Not because they believe in their decision, not because they believe in themselves, but because you're so motherfucking confident they believe in you. Right? But I got a little tangent there. We got a little off on the side, right? We weren't supposed to go that deep into it. But here's the deal. If you look desperate, you'll never close a sale. Because for everything confidence does for a sale, desperation takes away. When you step into a sales conversation, you have 2 sets of anxieties. You got people scared they're going to be sold, and you got a person scared that he's going to blow a sale. And so when the person is scared he's going to blow a sale, that's a sign of what? Desperation. Right? And when they see that and they know that you're anxious and you're nervous and you really don't believe and you're desperate for a sale and you'll say anything to make a buck, right? That fucking guy will say anything to make a buck. Nobody respects that person. So let's talk about how to not be that guy, right? Let's talk about how, we can talk about confidence, mark this down, Robert. We can talk about confidence maybe a couple episodes from now. But today, let's talk about avoiding desperation, right? Let's get away from the pain. Because here's the thing. We speak 3 languages. Right? Some of you have to compound this with whatever languages you speak, but we speak 3 main languages. The language with our mouth, right? Our tongue, lips, like the shit that you hear me saying right now. And then a second language which runs simultaneously with that mouth language, right? The linguistic side of it is your body language, right? So if you're saying yes and shaking your head no, that sends mixed signals to the receptacle on the other end inside the human that's trying to transfer if you're telling them the truth or not. If you're telling them it's the best decision of their life and you're shaking your head no, they pick up that. Maybe they don't pick up on that, but their subconscious goes, red alert, something's not right here. Right? So when you're desperate, your body language shows up no matter what your words say. And it's hard. It's hard unless you're like a complete sociopath when you're desperate to get all of that to line up. And then the third thing is there's like this universal language, like the law of attraction or whatever, right? Like there's just like this motherfucker got a bad aura, right? There's just that aspect of it. So, you know, you don't want to have... you want to have there's also the flip side of that, right? Like this person's got a great aura. I don't know why, I just trust them, right? Like you'd rather get that side, and that comes from confidence. So let's talk about some things that make you appear desperate for business. The first one, y'all gonna get mad at me. I don't think they're ready for this, right? Like I don't think that you guys, like I argue, I try not to argue anymore, right? I've got gatekeepers of negativity in my life, but people always say, well, you know, it's because you can't do it. But I think thing that gives you away, the first and foremost thing that gives you away as desperate as cold calls. And I know that might be a shocker to some of you because that's how you make your whole living. And listen, I'm outspoken against cold calls, and it's what's really made me an agitator in this industry. But, you know, I'm the number 2 most followed sales trainer out there. So agitator or not, my shit's obviously working. There's enough of you people that are fed up with fucking cold calls too, to where you don't want to do them either. And you want to hear some new age ideas that might be a better use of your time. That way, instead of having to be somebody who makes 300 dials to get one person to talk to you and to build that prospect for the next 6 months, bugging the shit out of them until they finally lay down and do business with you. Instead, I'd challenge you to build a relationship with 2 or 3 people a day and spend time nurturing that relationship as to blindly dialing 300. You see, we live in a time where technology is all around us, but yet just like everything else, people refuse to use it. Let's talk about the evolution of communication real quick. I was born in 79. First thing on the scene, 79, mobile phones. They were the size of fucking car batteries, right? People used to say, hey, you know what? It's my mobile phone. I only give it out to friends and family. I don't want work people to have it. Then a smart salesperson like myself shows up in the 80s and says, I'm giving my mobile phone number out to everybody because I want to do business with everybody at every point, right? So people started using the mobile phone for business. Now, fuck, we don't even have landlines. The next thing on the scene was, let's say, email. And people said, you know what? I don't want to give my email out, because it's only for my friends and family, to the point that corporations had to make emails for their employees just so that they would continue to give it with business people, right? A separate little email and everything else. But now, the first thing you get from somebody is an email. You look on their business card, email. What do they tell you to do? Email me. Hit me up on an email, right? You look on even the models and stuff on Instagram, they always say hit their manager up on email, right? The ones that sell protein powder. And then, so the next evolution is social media. When Facebook and all that started, people said, hey, you know, I don't want to give this to anybody but my friends and family. And then smart people like me once again stepped up and we said, dude, you can fucking talk to a bunch of people, make a bunch of fucking money on this shit, yo. And then that's what we started doing. And now everybody's just like, oh, find me on Facebook. We have sites like Clixo, CLYXO, where you can go and sign up and you can bookmark all of your social media sites right there because there's so many of them and you want the public to know where to find you at. I own that software, by the way. It's fucking awesome. It's free and you should totally sign up. I'm in a good ass mood today, by the way. I'm all hyped up and shit. But so cold calling is really a waste of time. We have all these, like, you know, we've got this evolution of communication. And the phone was something that was in the 80s, right? Notice I talked about the phones 1979, then email, then social media, and beyond. But like, think about how old school the phone is. Now, I'm not hating on the phone. I'm good on that motherfucker. I close on it every day. But I make more money through Facebook chat. I close more sales through emails. I make a lot more sales through blog posts than I do on phone calls. Because in order to call yourself a master salesperson, you can't just be, oh, I'm really good face-to-face, man, but I suck writing. No, man, then you're an unbalanced salesperson because it's 2016 and people are reading more and talking less. People are typing more and talking less. Matter of fact, there's been more emails and text messages sent than phone calls made the last 5 years in a row. But yet you're still using the phone. 86% of all phone calls go unanswered. I tried to call a lady that text messaged me today 2 times in a row. She was expecting my call. It still didn't get answered both times. She had to call me back. You think about it. What a colossal waste of time. However, you can take somebody's email and write them a sales letter. You can buy an advertisement and get somebody to reach out to you. That's my favorite. That does not look desperate at all. You can send somebody a text message. You can look them up on social media. You can give them a review on LinkedIn. You can go give them a review on Yelp. You can bet your ass most people read that. And if they don't read it, tweet it out to them so they can't ignore it. But you don't have to cold call and bug the shit out of them. You can do other things to build a relationship with them. We got a lot of information about that on the hardcorecloser.com blog. Just go over there and search cold calling. There's a lot of other ways. So number two thing, my voice here, getting a little excited. Voice is getting a little grimy. But the number two thing that makes you look like a desperate salesman is you show up unannounced. Door knockers, pay attention. I don't like it when people show up at my house unannounced. I don't like it when people cold call me. So these are things that if I don't like, probably the marketplace don't like. So it's probably not a good idea to do them to the marketplace. Like if you're not expecting company and somebody shows up and you think it might be company, it's kind of distracting. It throws you off, and especially if they're trying to take your money or collect your credit card at the door. So that's a desperate move. However, understand that door knockers got to do that. There's a hailstorm that just hit Wiley, Texas. Fucked my Lindsay's car up. Our operations manager fucked the car up that she drives. Holes in her roof, knocked all of her windows out. Man, she needed door knockers to help her out, right? There is a time when it's acceptable. Storm chasers will make the exception for you. But like, you know, here's the thing. These guys in Utah last week, they knock doors. And when they knock doors, they sell pest control, right? And so I was telling them, you know, hey, a way to get around this so that you don't look desperate is you show up and you go, hey, I'm sure that you've seen the news lately. We're here in the neighborhood as a service, helping the city out, helping families stay safe from the Zika virus. There's been an outbreak 2 times in our state right now. We're just making sure that everybody here has a pest control situation under control, to the point that we're even offering 50% discounts for the people that sign up today, just because we're trying to do our best to make sure the mosquitoes carrying the virus don't wind up in the neighborhood and affect the families here. Bro, that doesn't sound desperate at all, right? That's the only chance that you get to show up unannounced at one of these places. Is that a fucking hell of a sales pitch or what, Robert? Right?
Yeah, I was digging that. That was good, man. Definitely.
Yeah, dude, the crowd went wild. They're like, man, we never thought of that. Like, dude, I don't even know what that shit means, but I know that Amy's been bitching about it, so it must be a real thing, right? And I got the story secondhand from her. And so, I mean, you know, shit, we're just trying to do a community service here. We're not salespeople, right? But for the most part, when I say in this part, you show up unannounced, what happens is, you know, guys go walking through the front door of a dealership trying to get a deal with the GM right there, right? A guy walking through the front door of, you know, the mortgage deal, or the mortgage guy walking through the front door of the real estate office trying to see what agents are in the office that he can just start talking to. Man, that's just like reek of desperation, because they know if you had business, they know if you're really good at what you do, you wouldn't be doing that, right? Because people that are good don't do that.
Well, yeah, that's
So,
something
it's just-
I always wondered, dude. And regarding that is so many people like their business they'll call cold, right? They'll try to drum up business by making cold calls, but yet they're selling a product that's like, we're going to generate digital marketing, or we're going to generate you leads online. And I'm like, then why are you calling cold if you know how to generate leads online, right? Why aren't you generating them for your business?
Man, I got a few haters. And the way that we got like sideways is they would talk about how they're good at lead gen and sales, but then they would private message people from the sales talk group talking about, hey man, you know, I can help you with your lead gen. Like, if you're so damn good at lead gen, how come you don't have people coming to you? I don't ever do that. Like, nobody hearing my voice has ever got a message from me saying, I can help you with your lead gen, or I want to do this. Like, you have to come to me, right? It's called advertising, right? My true salesmanship is in, it starts the second you see my ad. Right? And that's where lead gen begins too, right? And these guys, you know, it's like, I can help you with your lead gen, but I'm cold calling you. Same shit. You're right. You're right. So don't show up unannounced. That's the bottom line. The third thing is you talk too much, right? When I go silent on you and you're putting a sales pitch on me and you start talking and talking and talking and talking, that's when I know you really need the sale. Wouldn't you agree with that, Robert?
Yeah, and I tell you what, I don't always really need the sale, but sometimes I do. I'll be straight up. I'll have the tendency to yap it up a little more often than I should.
Well, yeah, you do, man. You know, sometimes we're like, hey, we got 20 minutes to do this podcast, and then we like talk for 20 minutes before we even get the podcast started. So, and that's definitely your fault every time. So I could give you that. However, most people, when they're talking too much, I was doing a deal today, and I was a buyer, bro. I was like, oh, dude, like, I was already in. Just tell me the price, save you 20 minutes, let me just fucking pay it and move on, right? And the person I was talking to, the thing that I was buying, like, dude, they went on talking for, 10 minutes. And I was like, this person really needs this sale, because they're like laying it on thick. Like, they didn't have to lay it on that thick. Like, the first layer, I was already licking my fingers ready to eat it, right? And then they put a 7-layer cake on it. And I'm like, dude, this is almost too rich for my blood at this point, because I just wanted to do what they wanted on the first layer and pay it. I'll pay for the 7-layer, but can I just get the first layer and move on? You know what I mean? It was one of that kind of deals. So you talk too much, you show desperation, everything else. The other thing, number 4, is you thank them for their time. Never do this. I learned this from my mentor, Orrin Clef, Pitch Anything. It's a great book. You can go over to hardcorecloser.com, search Pitch Anything, and you can buy the book right there from my affiliate link. That would be a lot fucking cooler than just going direct to Amazon, just telling you how it is, right? Go to hardcorecloser.com, select, search Pitch Anything, take you right there to the Amazon link. Check it out. Don't even have to search Amazon for it or nothing. And he says never thank anybody for their time, because then that puts you in a beta frame, right? Orrin's whole thing is alpha frames and beta frames, right? And in order for you to win a sales conversation, you have to either match or conquer their alpha frame and turn them into the beta, because in order for you to win your frame, and now that's not an emasculating, that's not a degenerating, that's not anything like that. It's just knowing how to get on their level psychologically and match these frames with them. He's freaking brilliant at it, right? Like, brilliant. And so what Orrin says is never thank anybody for their time, because then that makes the assumption in the back of their mind subconsciously that their time is worth more than yours, or they would be thanking you for your time. Let that sink in for a minute. When you thank somebody for their time, you're admitting that their time is worth more than yours. Every time I hear a sales guy go, and I appreciate your time, I'm like, fuck. Thanks a lot, Orrin. Now I know that this guy's a beta, right? Before I didn't know that, and now I know. Thanks a lot, Master Coach Orrin. I really appreciate that. You should go read that book for real, everybody. Matter of fact, fuck the book. Go to Amazon. I don't have this on my website, so I'll let you pass that. Go to Audible and let Orrin read it to you. It's so much better when he reads it in his voice, dude, because he's emphatic as hell. So it's that time of year. My voice gets all crackly. My throat swells up, shit like that. I don't know what the thing is this time of year in Texas. I'm allergic to something, that's for sure. So, So don't thank people for their time. Man, it puts them in a beta frame. It makes them think that their time's worth more than yours. It just shows desperation, because I don't ever thank anybody for my time or for their time, period, unless their time is worth more than mine, right? So if I go meet with Warren Buffett, I'm going to thank him for his time, right? But at the same time, I'm probably not, in all reality, because I'm going to go in there and try to match frames with him, right? I'm not even going to contradict myself here. I wouldn't. I tried to think of a circumstance where I would thank somebody for their time, and I don't think there is. Because if I'm there with Warren Buffett, I have something that's equally as worth my time as his, because it's obviously a billion or trillion dollar conversation. So just keep that in mind. Last but not least, saying you have an open schedule. Man, if you are talking to somebody and they say, well, what time would you like to meet? Never, ever, I don't fucking care what, ever, never, ever, ever say, well, I have a wide open schedule on XYZ. Oh man, I'm wide open. You tell me. This is what you say. You give me a time, I'll rearrange whatever's on my calendar. Right? Let me reword you here. You give me a time and day, and I'll rearrange whatever I need to on my calendar. If you have an open schedule, do not say that you have an open schedule. An open schedule means you ain't got shit to do, and people don't do business with people who ain't got shit to do. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Better late than never, goddammit. So, all right, think about that for a second. Never say that you have an open schedule. It looks desperate. It means you're not doing business. So what you do instead is you say, hey, just give me a date and time, and I'll rearrange my schedule and make it happen for you. That also shows them importance as well, right? That puts them in the bracket where you care about them. So let me recap this bad boy real quick, and we'll let you get on to work today, right? So most of you have admitted that you listen to this on the way to work, in the gym, before you hit the floor, because it gets you pumped up, and that's why we do this shit. So stop cold calling. That shit looks desperate. Stop talking too much. That shit looks desperate. Stop thanking motherfuckers for their time. That shit looks desperate. Stop saying that you have an open schedule. That shit looks desperate. And stop showing up unannounced. That shit looks desperate too. So, hey, make sure you go find me at clixo.com, CLYXO.com/closer. Make sure you give this badass podcast a review and a hallelujah up on iTunes. And also, make sure you tweet this out. Like I said, the fact that you reviewed it, let me know on Twitter. I'll send you a digital copy of the Hardcore Closer book. It's not quite the digital dash, but it's the digital version of the book, right? And again, make sure while you're at clixo.com/closer, sign up and get your own shit. Then tweet that out. And just like tag at Clixo in that, just because you're cool, right? I don't have anything to give you there because it's all free, but I love that site. You should love it too. We're adding some badass new features to it. We're adding Blab, Facebook fan page to it, right? And then we're also adding one other thing too. Shit, I can't remember which exactly it is. Anyway, we're adding 3 more. So the weed gets me sometimes, y'all. I just got to admit it. But we're adding 3 more channels to Clixo as well. And I'm about to hire out CEOs and take this thing to the next level, investment money and all that. So I'm pretty excited. So get in while you can in the beginning, or you'll always be able to get in, but get the URL that you can while you can in the beginning before this shit really takes off. So with that being said, I'm out, Robert, unless you got something you need to add.
Nah, man, we're good.
Later.